So that's very interesting because, for example, we do see campaigns not performing well but still driving revenue, and we look into diminishing returns, we look into like different level like of spend, like trying to understand what is the optimum pump. But actually one of the message here is that we can also drastically improve the performance of a campaign if we start to look into ad fraud.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think the first and the most important thing is to create this type of awareness. Like the video that we're doing now is just to illustrate people how easy it is to do that with ChatGPT, and we just did it in 15 minutes. Yeah. Imagine how much better you can make a bot if you spend days on it. You could simulate daytime differences. You can say that the clicks not coming every 2 seconds. You can say, okay, I want it between random between 1 and 15 seconds, right? So you give it a more organic feel on it. So you can do all these things. You could improve a bot there. Imagine what can be done with a few more prompts if someone puts in more work into this. Yeah. So the first thing is to understand that is fraud is real. Understand how it's being done, and then say, okay, apparently we're getting hit big. We need to take action on it. And we need to say, okay, by assuming only we're looking at the source alone and say we're having some sort of retention metrics here. So it cannot be fraud. That's maybe one of the number one reasons often fraudsters get away with it, right? Because there are some retention metrics. And as a fraudster, you try to from a logical perspective, they're trying to spread their traffic through as many sources as possible because they don't care about getting a lower payout. They will just increase the volume, right? They're gonna make up the lower payout they get by sending it to another network and not having this direct connection. They simply send more traffic, and they do this with multiple networks, multiple partners, and maybe one partner gets shut down. They don't get paid. Yeah, but that's all in the calculation. It's all the probability. They say, I don't know, in 80% of the time, I'm getting paid. The 20% where I'm not getting paid, well, that's just part of the business, right? So from their perspective, spreading it through as many sources as they can has a huge advantage. If you're running small numbers, then you typically fly underneath the radar. If you generate, I don't know, you generate around 5,000 euros a day, you can bet for sure that advertisers are going to look more carefully into that traffic. But if you run, I don't know, you run some sub-IDs and they're constantly changing, and you can also randomize sub-IDs, of course, right? Sub-IDs are not a genuine source of truth that are absolutely unique. They can be just generated. So it doesn't mean you cannot really filter out and say, now I'm getting all this traffic, I'm filtering out bad sources, and then I only keep the good ones. That's what people in media buy think. And I used to be a media buyer myself. That's exactly what I did 12 years ago. Then when we've been buying media, we were hoping to filter out only the good sources and then scale that up. Yeah.
And that doesn't work all the time. I guess on connected TV, maybe it's a bit more robust selecting your vendors than display, where there is that massive.
Uh, yes and no. I mean, again, of course, it always depends on the source. If you have something that is where you absolutely know where the traffic is coming from and you trust that source, I still believe numbers can still be inflated. Yeah, because we all know that sometimes companies, owners, founders, they can be under pressure from investors to deliver high numbers, right? And sometimes they might say, okay, well, I have no other choice. And they may just inflate their own numbers by 10, 20%. And if they're using techniques like that, they're quite likely to get away with it. Um, and nobody's really able to prove them otherwise because nobody knows about this fraud, right? Who is doing it, who's committing it. They say this is our own traffic. The employees on the team even don't know that, right? If this is very high up in the ranks, then the sales rep wouldn't know about this. They don't understand that. And they say, oh, this can't be fraud. It's all our own traffic, and and it's an incredible, complicated, intertwined system, yeah, that we have in reality.